time we were together, I said we need to talk about 5 different angle relationships. And the very first one we talked about was what? Adjacent. And what did the word adjacent mean? Not adjacent angles. What does the word adjacent mean?
Same.
Next to. So they're next to each other. And so when we talk about adjacent angles, they're going to be 2 angles that are connected to one another, and they're going to share a common side. 2 angles that are connected to one another that are going to share a common side. But I heard somebody say equal. Do adjacent angles always have to be equal? No. They can be. You can have 2 angles that are equal, 40 and 40, but they don't have to be equal. Okay?
Wait, it has to be like 90 degrees total, right?
No, something
No.
180.
Shares like
So adjacent, they can add up to be 20 degrees. They can add up to be 115 degrees. They don't have any specific degree that they have to add up to be. All right, complementary angles. What do complementary angles do?
They add up to 90.
yeah.
They add up to be 90 degrees. Do complementary angles have to be adjacent?
No.
No. So you have 2 options. They can be adjacent and look like this. And we can have like a 30 and we can have a 60. That's one option. But we can also have 2 angles that are not adjacent, like a 40 and a 50, and those are complementary angles, but they are not adjacent. Okay? All right, supplementary means what?
180.
Equals 180. In supplementary angles, you have 2 options as well. They can be adjacent, so they can look like this. We could have a 60 over here and a 120 over here. But they don't have to be adjacent. They could just be like 40 and 140. So supplementary angles are going to equal 180 degrees. They can be adjacent or non-adjacent. All right, let's flip over to vertical angles, which is where we should have left off. Now, when we're talking about vertical angles, we are not talking about anything that has to do with horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, so don't think vertical meaning like, going up and down versus left to right. So vertical angles are going to be 2 angles that are across from each other on intersecting lines. 2 angles across from each other on intersecting lines. Two angles that are across from each other on intersecting lines. So it's going to look something like this. I'm going to have some intersecting lines here, and these angles are going to be vertical. Somewhere up there you need to write vertical angles are always congruent. So you can put a big congruent sign. You can write angles, vertical angles are always congruent, however you want to write it. But vertical angles are always equal to one another. Number 1 says, name the 2 pairs of vertical angles. Can you tell me how many is in a pair?
2.
2. So name a pair of vertical angles that you see up there.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Angle 1 and angle 2. angle 3, and angle 4. Across from each other, and they're always congruent. All right, you're going to do the next one. The next one says, name the angle vertical with VZY. Name the angle vertical with VZY. Don't tell me the answer yet. All right, what angle is vertical with VZY? XZW. Or WZX. Across from each other and always equal.
I've already done it. I'm ahead of you.
Now,
I'm not behind you.
perfect.
Steps ahead.
Number 3 and number 4 are exactly the same, so I don't feel the need to do both of them. We're just going to do one. So I'm going to do number 3. Now, on your test, you're not going to have, here's the section of vertical angles. Here's the section of complementary. Here's the section of supplementary. They're all going to be mixed up. So when I see a picture like number 3, line LM and line NO intersect at P, find the value of X, I see vertical angles and I know that I need to set them equal to each other. So 7X plus 13, no, that's definitely not right. How about 7 plus 13X equals negative 20 plus 16X. So that's going to give me 27 equals 3X. So X equals 9.
9. X equals 9.
And the problem simply says find the value of X, so we're finished. Well, there's no need for us to plug it back in. It says find the angle measure, then you would plug it back in. All right, 4 is exactly the same. I don't feel the need to work that one. I think you can do that without me. All right, go down to 5 and 6. Now, 5 and 6 say find the value of X and each angle. So we are going to have to plug back in. If the measure of angle SOP is 5X and the measure of angle ROQ is 4X plus 10. So when I see vertical angles, I always just need to think, put a big equal sign between them. So if I solve that, X equals what?
10.
And the measure of each angle is
50.
50 degrees.
Wait, how do you know that X equals 10?
Because it's
Well, if I move the 4 over, I get 1. All right, I want you to try 6. You're finding the value of each one of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take a second, see if you can find the value of each one of those angles. All right, 1 and 3 should be easy. What's the value of angle 1?
I was
72.
72. What's the value of 3?
41.
41. Those are vertical angles. Now, angle 2 and angle 4, we've got to take a little bit more of the things that we already know to figure out. So, what do I know about this guy right here? He's a straight line. He equals 180 degrees. So, all that together has to equal 180. So, what am I going to do?
Add 72.
Add 72 and 41 and then subtract from 180, which gives me 67, right? And then they're vertical, so they're both 67. What do all 6 of them have to equal? 360. So technically, if you didn't realize, oh, they need to equal 180, you could have said, well, let's add up what we know and subtract from 360 and divide by 2. That's another option.
So what you did 72 minus 40
Plus 41.
plus 41.
Okay, easy cheesy lemon squeezy. All right, last one we're going to talk about is a linear pair. Linear pair. What does the word linear mean? Line. What is a pair?
2.
2. So if it's a linear pair, and what topic are we even talking about right now? Angles. So a linear pair is going to be 2 angles that make up a line. Okay, they're going to be 2 angles that make up a line. Now, these 2 angles are going to be 2 things. They're going to be adjacent, and they're going to be supplementary. So, 2 angles that are adjacent and supplementary. Two angles that are adjacent and supplementary. Okay, do supplementary angles have to be adjacent?
No.
No. Do adjacent angles have to be supplementary?
No.
Does a linear pair have to be adjacent and supplementary?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if you have adjacent supplementary angles, then we call that a linear pair. It forms a line. And so it's going to look something like this. Not always exact, but it's going to look something like this, where angle 1 and angle 2, if you put them together, it's going to give you a line. Angle 1 and angle 2, put it together, it's going to give you a line. So on number 1, find the measure of angle 2. So you're going to do what?
Subtract 180.
Subtract from 180. 180 minus 138, and you're going to get 42 degrees. Number 2 is like the picture we had on the other page, but instead of vertical angles, now we're looking for linear pairs. So we need sets of 2. So name me a linear pair. 5 and 6. 5 and 7. 6 and 8. 7 and 8.
7 and 5.
Yes.
7 and 6. There's a lot. Does every one make up a linear pair with the others?
Does 7 and 6 make up a linear pair?
Yeah. Well, it makes a line.
No.
What are 7 and 6?
Vertical.
Vertical.
So that can't make a
What
line.
are 5 and 8?
Vertical.
Vertical.
But it would be more than 180.
But they still make up a line.
I want you to tell me how 7 and 6 make up a line.
Like when you put them
Because
together.
5 and 7, if I put 5 and 7 together, it forms that line right there.
But also you can put 7 and 6 together. It forms that line.
The bottom part of the
They have to be adjacent.
Have to
So they
equal
both have
180.
So adjacent means that they share a common side, and 7 and 6 don't share a common side, and they have to be supplementary. And 7 and 6 are not supplementary. So 5 and 6, 5 and 7, 6 and 8, 7 and 8 are your linear pairs. I can't tell you how many people miss on the test. I'll say, name a linear pair, and they write one angle. A linear pair is not one angle. A pair is two. When you buy a pair of shoes, Johnny had got 2 shoes with his new pair of shoes, right? Not 1, 2. All right. Line LN and line OP intersect at M. Find the measure of LMO and the measure of angle OMN. So these are a linear pair. So what are we going to do with them?
Equal to 180.
Add them together and set them equal to 180. 7x plus 20 plus 10 plus 5x equals 180. 12x plus 30 equals 180. 12x equals 150. So somebody tell me what x equals. I'll give you a hint. It's not a whole number.
12
What is it?
12
12 and a half. Am I finished at 12 and a half? No, I have to take that and I have to plug it back in for x. So you're going to take 12 and a half and you're going to plug it back in for x.
I got 14 in there.
Shoot, I was looking for the wrong column.
You got 14 and a half?
No, actually no.
Okay, somebody tell me what these angles equal. Why does Billy keep having his hands on people?
No.
Really?
What? No, he was scratching my hair.
That's
What's
weird.
not?
That is weird.
All right, 12.5, plug it in. What do we get?
12.5 we get.
35 plus, nope, not 35. I'm not going to try.
Okay.
Which one are we looking at?
Well, there's
It's
19 people in here.
72.5.
Thank
I
you.
think it was 7.5. I was in
Oh, yeah, I knew that. But like,
72.5.
And if I want to check, those two angles should add up to be
180.
180.
And they do.
And they do.
I knew the answer.
I think we did.
All right, I want you to try number 4. Read it, see what you can do with it. My keyword or phrase is linear pair. Anytime I see linear pair, that means I'm gonna do what?
Add them and set them equal to 180.
Add them and set them equal to 180. This is the second time I have given you a easy fraction where the numbers in the parentheses are divisible. So if you would like, go ahead and make this 9x minus 2 and make this 3x minus 10 before you set them add them together.
You add them together?
Uh-huh.
Set them equal to each other.
Are these equal to each other?
They're not, but I just didn't know what to do, so I just went down and set them equal to each other.
So 9x minus 2 plus 3x minus 10 equals 180. Could two angles in a linear pair be equal?
Yes.
Yes, technically they could both be 90 degrees. However, we don't know that they're equal, so if it says linear pair, we set them equal to 180. If it says vertical, we set them equal to each other. All right, so that's going to give you 12x minus 12 equals 180. So 12x equals 192. So x equals what? 16. And that's all it asks for.
Not 14?
Says 180.
I got
negative
negative
112 was 196.
All right. Ladies, I want you doing number 5.
Okay, now, ladies.
Gentlemen, I want you to do number 6. Ladies, number 5. Gentlemen, number 6.
I bet number 6 is harder.
Probably.
You know, we're
Especially since most of my gentlemen
Oh, this was easy.
set them equal to each other instead of 180.
I didn't really.
When did that was set them equal? Did you not believe it?
That's what they don't need.
You two are really, really, really working my nerves. And I have a feeling if I said something to football coaches, it would end. So let's end it now so I don't have to say something to them. Are you only getting X?
No.
What are you doing after you get it?
Like it is.
Plugging it back in.
What's 11 times 12?
That's an F right there.
I guess what I can do quick multiplication.
Good thing you know how to do it over there to the side.
Why do you have to do 11 times 12?
We don't know. Apparently he got 12 as his answer.
I got 12. I guess I did
Oh,
get
never
12.
mind.
I got 12.
Yeah.
See?
But I just did
Wait, I
180
did
minus
12.
54, so I didn't.
You did the ladies one's fine?
I feel like that's
Oh, I did
easier
the
than
4 x plus 6.
multiplying 11 times 12 and subtracting.
I
Or
did
12.
12. You should just find the angle of each measure.
All right, ladies.
I did the-
You should have added them together. Set them equal to 180. What do you get for Y? 15. Then you plug it back in. So let's plug it back into SOP.
This is definitely easier.
So what do you get for this side? 93 and 87. You have 2 options. You can get 93 and then subtract this from 180, or you can plug 15 into both and then check and make sure that they add up to be 180. All right, gentlemen, I keep hearing you get 12,
Yes.
okay?
X equals 12.
So if you get x equals 12,
Yes.
then the smaller angle equals what?
54.
54. and
126.
126.
126. And those add up to be 180. Okay? All right, so what we're going to do, this says homework at the top, but it's not. We're actually going to finish it together. So keep your little book out because you might need it. And when you get this, I want you to try to answer the first 3 blanks. I want you to try to answer the first 3 blanks.
Are we gonna have a hard test this week? Like the
You don't have a test this week. You have a test.
Next.
Actually, it's going to be Monday, September 20th, which I hate giving one on Monday, but
When's
You're gonna-
that? Is that?
not next Monday.
are you gonna give one of us a surprise test?
The fun test?
Yeah, what's the fun? What
How
is
do
it?
you know about that?
It's like the hard one.
How do you tell me about it?
Yeah, somebody.
My brother told me
Miss
about that
Waits
last
used
year.
to tell
What
us
is
about it.
that?
You get Reese.
You said Lionel always got
I don't know what it is though.
What's the
So
fun
much
part?
Wait, no, you need
It's
to act.
way more fun than anybody else.
You need to act
Wait,
dumb
what-
in the class.
What is it?
You need to act dumb in the class, and so she doesn't think you're smart.
Lucky for me, I don't have to act.
You're just the smartest person in the class, and
Oh,
it's
is it
like
like
the
the
hardest. Yeah, it's the hardest.
Oh, I thought we did.
That's why I'm chilling.
They're actually normal. Do you get any like bonus points? Can you take the test or not? It's just regular.
It's just so much fun to take.
Well,
All right, I want you to try to answer the first 3 on this sheet.
I personally
Would be the
don't know
last.
myself.
angle relationship.
But it's not homework. You need to look in your little flip book, that's fine. You're looking at the top picture. You're naming 2 adjacent angles, and you need to think to yourself, how do I name an angle? Okay, don't answer me out loud right now, but think, how do I name an angle? Look at that picture and answer the first 3. Do you and your neighbor have to have the exact same answer?
No.
No, because there's definitely more than one option. So the first blank says 2 adjacent angles. Adjacent angles means that they are beside each other and they share a common side. They are connected to one another and they share a common side. Now, don't write an answer down quite yet, don't change your answer. But true or false, this angle right here and this angle right here are adjacent. True or false?
True.
True. What's the problem with me using those angles though?
The other one
Doesn't have.
We don't have a point down there to use to name those angles, right? So even though they're adjacent, I don't have anything to name them with. Okay, so I'm going to write a pair of adjacent angles. It may not be the one you wrote, which is fine. Then look at yours and see if you think you got yours correct. And if you want to ask me, I'll tell you. So I'm going to say 2 adjacent angles. I'm going to say angle A, B, C, and angle C, B, E. Those are 2 adjacent angles. ABC and CBE. Look at your answer. Determine if you think you got that right. You do not have to use mine.
technically, if you want to do
Yes, John Ebb.
Would angle CBD
Yes.
angle DBE be right?
Perfect. Okay, two vertical angles. Vertical angles mean across from each other, and they are equal. So I'm going to pick angle EFI
Good choice.
and angle GFH. Angle EFI and GFH. Look and see if you think you got vertical angles right. Now the next one says name one linear pair. But a linear pair is how many? Two, so you should still have two angles. So I'm going to go with angle GFH and angle HFI. GFH is here
Good choice.
and HFI is here. So this angle here and this angle here make a line. So you need to look at your options and see, did you pick angles that form a line?
I'm not sure.
What'd you pick?
CBA and CB.
CBA and CBE is great.
Is EFG GFX?
Perfect. All right, take a minute and I want you to try the next three using the next picture. Try the next three using the next picture. Okay, next three lines.
Supplementary adjustment will say things in linear pair. We're seeing. What are they?
It's scientific.
All right, look at the angles up there that I highlighted. Are the angles that I highlighted vertical angles? Yes. But are they acute vertical angles?
No,
No. What does acute mean?
The tiny.
Oh.
under 90 degrees.
Smaller than 90 degrees.
But if you go the other way, they're
So that means I need to be looking at this angle right here and this angle right here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to be looking here and here, right? Okay, so how do I name the acute vertical angles?
Angle RTS and angle
LTE.
LTE.
RTS and LTE.
Wait, would LTN work?
Like Verizon.
No, because LTN is only part of this.
I have 4 bars.
Okay.
It's not like a straight line going all the way through.
All right, two supplementary adjacent angles. Supplementary adjacent means a linear pair. So I picked STR and I picked RTL. You could have picked RTS and STE. You could have picked RTL and LTE. They need to be a linear pair. All right, an angle supplementary to RTS. Supplementary to RTS.
STE.
STE will work. Boys,
Sorry.
I told y'all I don't teach elementary school for a reason. So RTS and STE. Now the last three on here do not have pictures. They have keywords, okay? So in the first problem, what is my keyword when I read it?
Supplementary.
Supplementary. So as soon as I see this, I should be thinking what?
180.
180. So 2y plus 50 plus 5y minus 17 equals
Equal 180.
180. As soon as I see supplementary, I should be thinking set equal to 180.
I'm on it.
Now it also says solve for y what? And the measure
Find the measures
of the angle, so
Yeah.
it means we have to do what?
Plug them in.
Plug it back in. All right, so I'm going to get
We're gonna get a wonky number.
7y minus 30, no, plus 33 equals 180. So 7y equals
21.
147.
Yes.
So y equals 21.
Yep.
And then we have to plug them back in to angle E and angle F.
92 and 88.
92 and 88. 92 for F.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I want you to take a minute. You do not have to solve the last two. I just want you to write the equation that you would write to set up the next two. You don't have to solve it. You are capable of solving an equation. Just set up how you would write the equation for the next two. All right, what's your keyword in number two? Complementary. So what do we do with complementary?
90.
Equals 90. So 2x plus 6x plus 10 equals 90. Then you can solve and plug back in. Okay, what's your key phrase in the third one?
Vertical angle.
Vertical angles. What do I know about vertical angles? They equal each other. So 2x minus 10 equals 120. And then you would solve. Now, it says find the measure of angle C. You should already know what the measure of angle C is, right?
Yeah.
Because they're equal. But you don't know what x is until you solve it. Okay? So, supplementary 180, complementary 90, vertical angles equal to each other, linear pair what?
That's
Adjacent.
adjacent and supplementary.
So 180 as well.
Yes.
Okay? All right, so I'm going to give you